just wanted to say welcome to everyone to our AI Essentials webinar. We're Community Futures here in Bancroft. I think everybody online that I can see is local, so they should probably know who and where we are. Our presenter today is Sophie Andreu of 123 Digital Power, and she's going to fill our brains with AI information. So the session is being recorded, so we can and we'll share that and the PowerPoint after it's wrapped up. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Sophie.
Okay, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. I was up there not too long ago. I very much enjoyed being face to face, but this is exciting. This is a topic that changes every hour. However, I'll be putting it a little bit higher level and then just sharing some apps that I know you'll be able to take away and use right away. And that's what I love for you to be able to do is try some new things. If you are using something that I'm talking about, maybe you want to share with the others how you're using it, because I find the most exciting learning happens from how others are using some of the things that we're talking about. So let me get started. So today, and it'll be essentials for AI for business and nonprofits. I should have put that in our little slide here. So thank you for attending. What I'll be reviewing today, and the team will be sending out these PowerPoints along with the video, so worry not. And so quick intro as to what AI is. As we're presenting, these people are at many different, I guess, experiences with AI, from none at all to using some of it all the time. So it's exciting. Why AI matters to both nonprofits and business. Then the goals. I'm really hoping that with some of the tools and takeaways I'll be giving you, you'll be able to help save time, improve your communications, boost fundraising or sales. That's really what it's about. And then I'm going to, at the end, I've added a couple things that I think will be exciting. A simple chat bot, a couple different ways to help with onboarding, perhaps, or learning all sorts of different topics from all these various documents that you have. So I'll be sharing with you how you might do that, and simple clones, why you might want to clone yourself or not. So that's pretty cool. It's become very simple in the last little while. All of this has. So what is AI? In simple terms, I like to say AI can be viewed as it's working alongside the smartest people in the entire world, and you have them at your fingertips, or at any point, if you ask your questions clearly, that they will be able to answer you with content and references, with how you might move forward with what you've just asked them. You're still the expert. You have to guide them in what you're looking answers for. So imagine you have somebody who is AI, who is a researcher, who has access to all the smartest people in the world. And more content keeps on being added to AI. So it becomes, it's learning all the time. It's finding out how we think and what we're trying to understand. And you don't have to ask it in scientific terms. You ask it in plain language. So there's all sorts of terms that I'm not going to get into today as far as natural language and all these other terms and what they mean, but it's all about speaking naturally, and it speaks naturally back to you, and it generates learning. It learns. So why embrace AI? Because if you don't, you're probably going to be left behind. I have a presentation I show of a business that's not using AI, and it's a dinosaur, and it's being crushed. And I thought, that's not nice. I don't like crushing any animal, so I'm not showing that. But you don't want to be left behind. Sorry about that. I get too excited. And then Think about electricity. When it first came out, it was considered dangerous and redundant. I already had a candle. Why do I need electricity? This light bulb. This is the same. You're already doing several things on your own. Why use AI to help you? Well, it's productivity, it's time saving, and it's getting to know more knowledge about your competitors, more knowledge about your community, more knowledge about how do you what gaps are there in what you're doing. So let's dive in. So what can I do? What can AI do for your organization? It can create content if you ask it. Blogs. Blogs are critical. We're always scared to create blogs. That seemed to be something that was a big, tough thing to do. Well, if you add a blog to your website, it helps people, AI, find your website. Search engines are still around us, like Google, and it can read a blog to help your website get found. Guess what else reads blogs? AI can read a blog, and then it'll present you as an answer on AI. They may not come back to your website, but they're finding the answers from your blog. So you still need to feed it. Now, if there's a link on AI that it gives it back to this blog on your website and they click on it, then you probably want something called a chat bot on your website so people remain on your website and are able to ask it questions and get the correct answers that you've fed that chatbot. But let's not blow your mind up yet. I'm going to talk about simple chatbots at the end. I'm not going to talk about intense big chatbots in this 1 hour and a half together. So creating blogs, and you basically can go into any of your websites. It probably has a blog feature built into it. And now I guarantee you that blog feature has AI built into it. And if it doesn't, then you can go to Chat GPT, for example, which I'll talk about in a second. Ask to see, well, what are the pain points my clients have? And how can I write a blog sharing how my product or service handles or can solve these pain points? Or what are the kind of services that I'm offering to my clients that my nonprofit is offering? And how can you, what blogs are possibly important to my audience that they'd want to read about? And it'll probably say to you, how are you how are you impacting your community? It'll tell you ideas, and then you can ask it to write a blog on these ideas, and then you look at it and see if it's correct or not. So these blogs are something that you can ask it to do. It writes it for you. You get blown away, and then you can post that to your website so you get found. And it knows to use your keywords. It knows to use real facts. It knows to give you suggestions as to what else it might need in the blog or posts for social media. Once people start using something like ChatGPT to say, here, I'd like a post to describe XYZ. Perhaps you have an event coming up. I'd like a post about this event. It's such and such a day. This is what it's called. This is who my target market is. Can you give me 5 posts to talk about this event? It'll give you 5 posts that just blow your socks off. So there's posts, there's videos it can create, there's podcasts that it can create, there's flyers that it can create, there's newsletters that it can create, and there's answering grants. So if you have a grant, you can first of all ask it to find all the grants that your company specifically might be eligible to answer. And then once it helps you find the grant, you can share all the grant information to it and ask it to help you write the grant and respond a winning response to this grant. Or if you've already created the response to the grant, you can ask it to help you tweak your grant, or what's missing, what are the gaps, how can I make this grant stronger? And it what it comes back to just blows your socks off. So these are some of the content creation ideas. We're going to get into just a few of these. I teach a course at Trent University called AI Micro Credentials, and it starts again October 14th. It's a 6-week course, and it helps you create solutions that you might use in your organization. And I have a discount code for you at the end. I was going to share that at the beginning, that we're going to talk about that at the end. So, but I'm sharing it now. So content creation, and I'll be sharing with you some of the, what content you might want to get and how you might approach it. Productivity. So it also helps you do things faster, like emails. I do not think I respond to any emails any longer without letting AI check the email that I am responding to make sure I'm not missing anything, to make sure it's grammatically correct, to make sure that it's in the tone. Say I'm responding to an executive director. I'm going to tell AI I'm writing this email as a response to an executive director of a certain type of organization. I tell it which type of organization. And here is what I was going to say. Can you please help me with this email? So it rewrites it for me, asks me if this is okay. I take the parts I want and I use that as my response. And it makes my life faster and so much more productive and so much more professional. So email responses, especially if something is delicate in what you want to respond to, it really helps us understand how to respond to delicate inquiries. Summaries, it can look at a really large document that you have, and you'd like to know you want it to be summarized, and that's huge. Or it could look at a string of emails that you had with certain people over the last year on a certain fundraiser that you're working on, and you can ask it, what are the outstanding activities that I still have to accomplish? What are my outstanding tasks? What is the summary? And it'll come up with a list of links to all the past emails that you talked about and this content that you're asking for, and it'll tell you the summary. So it's fabulous. Like today, I could not remember if the Zoom call was on my link or on the Teams link, and I was able to ask Gemini, who lives in my Gmail, can you please find all the emails I have sent back and forth to this organization? I told it which organization, and it found it for me, so I didn't have to go through and look for it. And where was I talking about this specific webinar? And it showed me who, it helps simplify any complex question you have. It's beautiful. And reports. And so forth and so forth. This Zoom meeting, say this was a meeting to do with your volunteers or your board, and you had activities that you wanted to talk about with timelines, and everyone is volunteering for different activities. It will summarize what happened in this meeting, as it will for us, and I'll send you that summarization. And then it will also give you the action items at the end as to who said they were going to produce what and by when. So I will give you the summary of this Zoom, which by this afternoon. So it's going to get that and capture it and put it at the end of my Zoom notes for you specifically on this Zoom. That's huge when you're taking minutes, and that's a big time saver. So it's built into, if you're a Google shop, it's built into your Docs, your Google Docs. It's built into your Google Sheets. It's built into your Google Drive. So you can go to your Google Drive and ask its AI to find you a document that you had worked on years ago, and it probably had this word in the title. It'll find that for you. Or you can ask it to find everything that you've ever worked on to do with a specific subject. It's huge. Or you can go into an Excel spreadsheet that you've just received and you can ask it, are there any red flags in this spreadsheet? It's the financials for our nonprofit for the last 6 months. It'll give you what red flags it sees or that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. It's so effective to help you. So that's productivity research. I'll be spending some time on research in this presentation for you. But donor research, what are their trends? What kind of companies in your area or people should you be reaching out to based on what your nonprofit or your organization um, uh, uh, it does. And so, what your cause is, what kind of donors should I be reaching out to? Who are my competitors in my region who are also uh, searching out these donors? And it'll give you a list of who your competitors are and what their weaknesses are, if you ask it, what their strengths are, and how you can outperform them. And I'm going to be asking AI to do exactly that through this call. So it's going to be pretty exciting, I hope, for you. So hold on to your seats. So that to me is the most exciting thing that I have found. No matter who I'm working with, we start off with that. We start off with understanding what AI is. Trying and not being scared of it, asking it simple questions, and then getting right into finding out who are the competitors in my area, and how do I outcompete them? And I always say the top five because I don't want to see all. Often I don't want to be overwhelmed. And then it'll tell me what their strengths are if I ask it, what their weaknesses are, and how I can outcompete them. And then it'll give me a short action plan as to what I might do next and next and next to make sure I outcompete them. It's fabulous. So that to me is very powerful. And then I'll look at that and say, okay, I already do this and this. Obviously, you can't tell online because AI didn't find it. So then I will ask it, okay, please create a social media post based on, what it thinks I should do to outcompete my competitors. So I ask it to please showcase these services that I offer so that my clients can find them, because I know that you already just told me that this will help me outcompete my competitors. So thinking and knowing that is its frame, it will come out with posts for you and blogs helping you succeed, right? So I just love that. Client pain points. Now, if you were a company who was looking new clients, my clients have, I sometimes describe who my clients are, or I ask it to describe my clients, who are my demographics. And I love that. I take a step back and I might say, if you're nonprofit, what are the demographics of the volunteers who would volunteer for my nonprofit? That would be cool. When I ask it what are the demographics to a business, it comes back with youth or university students, or it comes back with moms who are like, it'll tell you, it'll break them up. And then I ask it, okay, what are each pain point and how is my product solving these pain points? So you could be asking for volunteers, asking why are they volunteering? How can I appeal to the different types of volunteers? So that's very cool. So I'm excited about so much to share with you. Analysis. You could be looking at downloading all of your reviews, perhaps, or a number of emails, and asking AI to research, to look at your documents, to look at your data and analyze it. What are the strengths and weaknesses that I have based on these reviews? There's so much more you can do. You can create strategic plans. You can create social media plans. You can create outreach to volunteer plans. You can outreach to new board members. If you're looking for new board members, it'll give you step by steps what you might want to do. So automation of repetitive tasks. I'm not going to get into that today. That is something we do on the 6-week course I teach at Trent University at the micro credentials, where you'd get a badge at the end of those 6 weeks with your AI badge. Pretty cool. And so the automation of repetitive tasks, what they say is if there is something you do 4 times in a day, online that is, it's not going to get a coffee 4 times a day. I don't think it'll help you with that. But if you are doing something 4 times a day online, it can automate it. So if you're going to your email, putting something into a spreadsheet, and then later perhaps summarizing that into that chart, you can have it look at your emails, put that into that spreadsheet for you, and create that chart for you, for example. Or if you have different emails that are coming in and you want it to update your look at your calendar to see when you might be able to fit in a new and there's just so much you can do. So you kind of look at what it is that you do in repetitive. So we had Scotiabank was one of the employees in the last course we taught at Trent in the summer for AI micro credentials, and they were manually taking data out of one spreadsheet and putting it into another spreadsheet, and then manually summarizing something in that, and then manually putting it elsewhere if it came out to a certain result. So by the end of the course, that was something she wanted AI to help them do, and it did, and it should be saving them hours a day collectively in her organization. So I was thrilled about that. Another client that I had, or not client, another student that I had on the in the course, they wanted competitive analysis every week on what their competitors, so AI identified their competitors, and then they wanted to know, well, what social media posts are they putting out last week? What are all the types of social media posts that they've put out? Which ones are the most successful, meaning that they had the most likes or the most comments. So it would give them a list every Monday morning, and that's an automated task that we put in there for them. Every Monday morning, it would come back with, this is what your competitors are doing last week. These are the types of social media posts that are getting them activity. Woo-hoo. And so then it said, okay, what else have they added to their website last week? Have they added anything new to their website? So then it added that as well to the report that gave them back. And then it said, then they asked AI, well, also please tell me what posts I should be putting out this week based on what's on our emails, based on what's on our website and based on what you see our competitors doing. So it learns every week as to what these competitors are doing, AI is. It's learning every week based on what you're doing, so it becomes powerful. And so now we're into. We've been keeping in touch with some. I've been keeping in touch with some of the students, and it's been about 2 months since that course ended, and it's exciting how powerful that tool has become. That one automated task. So I'm excited for them. Um, so accessibility, plain language. You're using. You can access the smartest people around the world. This is what AI does for you, as we said. If I think of that as the analogy, in plain language, it's answering you in plain language. And if you have the need to speak to others in people in different languages, it could automatically translate for you into other languages. And I don't know if that's something you need to do, but when I'll be showing you my clone at the end of this meeting together today, you'll see that my clone, which I created in 2 minutes, and I give it whatever I want it to say, and then now I'm saying it, and I don't have to fix my hair. I don't, because my clone looks good. Then what happens is it will also sync my voice and my lips to different languages if I ask it to translate whatever I'm saying from English into, a different language. So that is very cool, right? Okay, so there you go. That's what AI can do for your organization. There are 3 different types of AIs. The first column are those that you go to directly, those AIs that you go to directly, like chatgpt.com. That's the one that most people I work with are already using. There's so much more you can do with it because there's so many capabilities. So I'll be sharing with you some of those cool things, like creating your own custom GPT. It almost acts like a really simple chatbot. So we'll be coming back to that towards the end. So that Chat GPT was the first one that came out. It's built on the original Open AI, which was created in California, and all the AIs are built on on their platform. So it's powerful. They just upgraded it to Chat GPT 5 2 weeks ago, and it will blow your socks on if you haven't if you've touched it before and you come back to it. Its ability for answering is much better. Whatever questions you have, its ability to create images are outstanding. It's really become powerful. So I love that one still. Microsoft has created one called Copilot. So if you are an enterprise company where you are a Microsoft world that you and your team of the staff in your company all use Microsoft tools, then I recommend you use Copilot, because Copilot is built into your Microsoft Word, into your Microsoft Excel, and into your Microsoft PowerPoint. And in that, it is safe. It's a safe environment. Oh, and into your Teams, into your Outlook. So it can do so much of the automation I talked about and productivity in your in all of those places. You can also get to it just directly by just going to copilot.microsoft.com. So you don't need to have the enterprise or 365 version of Microsoft. If you go directly to that link, then you're using the browser version. It's not in your Word. It's not behind your firewall. It's now the browser version. So it depends on what you're doing. I'm not going to be talking about security and privacy and how to create your AI policies today. That's a whole section that I do in the micro in the micro in the micro credential course. But that is something that we could condense into an hour if it's something you're interested in. Then there's gemini.google.com. It's newer than the other two. Obviously, Google's come out with it, so it's powerful. And that's the one that's now bundled into your Google Docs, your Sheets, your your Google Docs, your Google Sheets, and your Google Slides, as well as your entire Google world. It's in that. So that's really powerful. And then there's Grok, GROK.com, the newest one on the scene. And that one is also powerful. I've started using that now. Pretty much this is the sequence I started using them in. The world has started using them in. So that one was created by Musk, and I know it's popular. So my jury's still out on that one as to why I would use it compared to the others. But it is, I'm seeing I like some of the responses I'm getting from it. What I often do is if I'm working on something that's really important and I want a really good plan for something, or I want a real good competitive analysis on something, I will take the same prompt, and we'll talk about prompts next as to what prompts are. I'll use the same prompt and go to all four of these individually and ask it for an answer. And that gives me so much information. It's unnerving. Each one might take a few minutes to answer. And now I have something that would have taken me thousands of dollars of consulting funds to receive, days and days and days and days and days. I mentioned days of research, but this can happen for you in a few minutes by just putting the question that you have, the prompt that you have, the direction that you have to AI in each of these four. So it's very powerful. So then so these ones you can go directly to. Then there are integrated AIs, those that are integrated in tools that you already use, like your Canva. I'm sure many of us, all of us use Canva. So when you go to Canva now, there's Canva AI built into Canva. It is powerful. Of course, as we know, I love Canva. It's a fabulous tool. So I still use it and I use its AI, but I use these other tools probably more than Canva now. But I still go to Canva when I'm creating flyers or when I'm creating some mainly flyers and marketing material. But Canva and my book, I have a book that I created, a coloring book on my dogs. So that's kind of cool. But anyways, Canva is has AI built into it. I'm not going to be getting into AI Canva today. That in itself could take an hour as far as all the different tools within it. As I said, you have in Microsoft, what is it? The one that's integrated in Microsoft? Copilot. So Copilot is integrated in Microsoft. In Google, what's the one that's integrated in Google? It's Gemini. I know this. It's Gemini that's integrated in Google. And then blogs, depending on which website you're in, there's often blogs integrated in your website where you can ask it based on my services that are such and such in my website. Can you create a blog that would be of interest to this specific demographic? And it'll write the blog for you. Of course, you need to edit it to make sure it's correct. And check the sources. I always check sources. Your website, when you're creating your entire website, there are many AIs that are often integrated in your website now. Email tools, as I have already said, your Gmail AI is built into it now. Your Outlook AI is built into it now. And other email systems like Constant Contact or MailChimp AI is built into those. And then CRM tools, there's AI built into those as well. Then there's purpose built AIs, which really purpose built AIs, they range from, for example, my QuickBooks, where I use QuickBooks for my invoicing, for my tracking my expenses, for tracking my, anything that has to do financially for me. And there's AI built into that. So if you're using any type of tool like that, normally AI is built into it now, or often AI is built into it now. And so if it's seeing the inventory, if you're a company that has inventory and they sell certain products, it can look at what you bought last year if you ask it to, and it can tell you, well, these are the trends for this coming season. You won't need as much of this product, but you'll need more of that product. So that's huge, helping you with your inventory planning. So there's that kind of stuff. Or you can ask it to the AI to look at your financials and where are your weaknesses? Where are you vulnerable? So it's just mind blowing. Then there are chatbots. You can create specific chatbots for what you need. So if you want people to have all the answers at their fingertips as to what your organization brings to the community, you can feed the chatbot all that information. And then when somebody comes to your website or when you send them a link to your chatbot, they'll be able to ask it anything they like, and it's only answering what you've asked it to answer. So that's specific to you creating that chatbot. Then there's tools like heygen.com. I'll be talking about heygen.com at the end today as we go until 1:30. Sorry, we go until 2:30. Yes. So HeyGen is a tool that I've really started to like recently. It has replaced a number of tools I was using before. So it will create a clone of your voice if you want it to. You need to have this as a need. And then it'll put your voice to a clone of yourself, an avatar of you, where it's talking as your avatar, and it's presenting. So it's crazy how powerful that is if you want to have more videos out there of you explaining what you guys do for a living, if you're explaining what your cause is, if you're explaining, how someone can leverage, how someone can become a let's try English, how someone can become a volunteer, or why it's exciting to be a board member. Perhaps you'd like to clone your board members, those that want to be cloned, and then have them say certain things, to the community. So many different ways you can use that. So often we just don't have time to have, the right lighting and do the right videos, but we know that videos from people that are more authentic do well. So with Hey Jen, it gets your it understands, it's empathetic. It knows what you're saying, and if what you're saying is sad, it'll be sad. If what you're saying is exciting, your voice will be exciting, and so are your features. So it's really upped its game when it comes to cloning. And then there's notebooklm.google, which is fairly new in some of its new features. I'll be sharing that with you at the very end. And that one is huge. I just started using it a couple weeks ago, and that one is coming on quickly, and it's powerful. It allows you to take, again, all sorts of different information. You feed it documents. It only takes a second. You go, these are all the documents my board members will ever need to know, as an example, or my volunteers will ever need to know. And here are some of the links. Perhaps you'd like to share with it some documents and maybe some links with information that they need to know about. And then what happens is the board members can ask it any questions they want. It'll give them a written answer, or they could ask for a podcast. It'll actually give them a podcast of the information in a summary. And they could say, please give me a 2-minute podcast, or please give me a 20-minute podcast. And it starts talking to them very exciting and interestingly, not in your voice yet. It's not cloned, but it's talking to them, and it's giving them a podcast on that same information. Or they might be more of a picture person. I'm a picture person. I like visuals. So it could say, give me a picture document representing a picture rather, representing all the documents I've uploaded. So it's got like the title is the first one, then it's showing a tree. It's a tree map is what it's called, a tree map. And then if you click on, then it keeps on going. The tree gets bigger and bigger because it categorizes the topics. Then you click on it and it gives you all the information that you need on that specific topic. Now you can take that now and send the link to this thing you've created to your board members or to your volunteers so that they have access to all of this information. So it's really powerful. So these are just some of the things you can do with AI. And as I said, I could go on and on, which feels like I am. So getting started safely, you need to really have a AI use policy. Which AIs are you allowing or accepting? And then a training plan. So I would not let your volunteers use AI on your behalf, or your board members on your behalf, unless it's an AI list that you approve and that they've had some training on it. You don't want them asking AI questions that are not correct, so they're getting wrong answers and then sharing that. You do not want them putting public information on AI. You got to keep your sensitive data. You need to know which type of AI you can share sensitive data to. Like you can share it on your VPN AIs that are behind your firewalls, like Microsoft's Copilot built into your Excel. You can ask that questions with AI, or even your Google, your Gemini that's built into your Google spreadsheet, but you're not going to take sensitive content and put it onto, where do you think? You're not going to put it on Chat GPT. You should not put financials on Chat GPT because that's in the network. Now, there are ways to use Chat GPT as private, but I still don't trust it because it's still saved in the cloud for 72 hours after you delete it. So I still would be careful on that. So you want to know, create a policy saying which AIs are allowed, like which tools, and then how it's used, and then train people on how to use it, and then understand which data is sensitive, understand how to use temporary chats, understand which AIs are built into your current platforms. And what you always want to remember is, yeah, use AI to help you be creative. Use AI to, you know, understand what's happening in the world or in your community so you can be better, but also make sure you do the final draft of whatever you're doing. Check it over because you do want to sound like yourself, and you do want to make sure it represents you and that it's not lying. So that's, and I've already talked about many of this, so I'm going to skip this. This is the key tasks that AI can do for productivity. So let's talk about prompts. Prompts is unlocking AI's full potential. Prompts refer to how you talk to AI. So it's got to be clear, and it's using relevant content such as, hey, AI, you are an expert in such and such a field. You're talking to this specific audience. I'd like your tone to be professional, or I like my tone to be fun yet enthusiastic because that's who I am. So you need to tell it how it's going to respond. I also love matrices. So I always say, hey, AI, I'd like a competitive analysis of whatever I'm doing an analysis on, and give it back to me in a matrix. I want 4 columns, one of the company's names that I'm competitors with or that my client's competitors with, and then what their strengths, what their weaknesses are in the area of marketing, or perhaps it's in the area of volunteer outreach, perhaps it's in the area of outreach and finding new board members, whatever I'm asking it to. And then how can I outperform them? So it's pretty cool. So you want to know that prompts are the initial instructions you give to AI. There's a range of prompts. You can just ask it one question, you get one answer, and you're done. Or there's complex commands where you are asking it to be your consultant. And AI, I am creating a grant to such and such a place, Trillium grant that comes out once a year on fostering growth in my community, and I'd like you to help me answer it. Ask me one question at a time. I will answer it, and I'd like you to build my grant response based on my answers. It'll do that as well. So you can use that to a group of volunteers to help you build that response or that grant, or you can do that with your board members. Perhaps you want a strategic plan and you'd like it to help you walk through that strategic plan. So you can do something like that. So that's pretty cool, right? So the importance, you need to have clear input so you get the type of response you want. So I'm going to just show you some examples on these 4. In all of them, you want to be specific, avoid ambiguity, provide examples if you'd like, as to, I'd like these types of responses. If it's something to do with you writing something, you may want it to actually, you may want to provide an example of what you've written in the past, so it uses your style. What one of my people that were on a training course recently told me they do is they get some really great newsletters in their emails, and they get some really bad ones. So when they get a good one, they keep it. And then when they're about to write their newsletter, they feed the good one to AI and say, I'd like you to help me write my newsletter using my brand and my tone, but help me use this as an example. I think it's a really good newsletter. So that's I like that idea. Use step-by-step instructions. You might ask AI to do this first, second, and third. Highlight constraints. Perhaps you'd like something to be only 200 words. Perhaps you'd like something in a matrix. So highlight how you want the format. Perhaps it's something that's going to be used as slides. Perhaps it's something that's going to be used as a checklist. I love checklists. So offer that kind of information up front and experiment. If the outcome isn't quite correct, ask it to tweak its response because it's missed this and this. So you may want to go back and forth, and that's okay. So I already talked about this. So just as an example, I'll go through this quickly. One type of prompt, perhaps you're saying, write something about climate change. That's too ambiguous. It's too big. I mean, just something about climate change. So you may want to say, a discussion affects solutions or any like, so you may want to say instead, explain the causes of climate change. So that's much better. So it's a detailed why do you want it? You want the causes of climate change. And perhaps then you want to tell it, okay, give me the causes of climate change and 200 words, 200, yeah, words for a beginner. And then I would probably say where I'm going to be using this. I'll be using this in a blog to go along with this photo. So I may even upload the photo so it can see it because it can see photos now. Or I might be using it in an article, or I might be using it in a post. So you can tell it also where you're going to be using it. So let me get into some prompts that you should be actually using. So for an example, this is a good prompt. And as I said, we'll be sharing all of this slides with you after. So identify 3 top fundraising trends for small nonprofits in 2025. Develop a matrix including each of the trends. Link back to an example of the trend illustrating and illustrate the approach and the advantage of using this. So then I would look at that and say, yeah, that's something my organization would want to do, or no, no. Oh yeah, this one I might want to do. Then I would say, okay, tell me how to exactly implement that, and it'll give me step-by-step instructions. So that's what I would ask it next. Please provide me a plan for implementing each method that suits small organizations, focusing on strategies that are effective yet not too time consuming because we're all volunteers. So then maybe you just want to ask it something totally different. That's okay. You could go on to, for example, analyze the advantages and disadvantages of whatever it is you've been doing in the past. Perhaps it's silent auctions compared to something else. Then if I want to get into identify all the I like this one, and you may want to try this one to start with. Identify all the nonprofits, indicate your community. So in prompt engineering, this is what you often do is you find a prompt that you may want to do ongoing. And so you have these square brackets. In the square brackets go you enter the variable. So in this case, your community name. So it could be, Bancroft, Ontario, and surrounding areas, or it could be someplace else, Hastings. So you need to decide where that is as you're writing this out and giving it to AI. What compete that compete, sorry, I'll try English, that compete, who compete, I think would be better, who compete for the same fundraising, for the same fundings. Oh my goodness, for the same funding and volunteers as, and then I would put in our organization, whatever your organization is. So you're asking it, who are the others that are competing for the same kind of funding and volunteers in my organization? So here's an example of what that output would look like. Your competitor in that first column, so nonprofit A, B, and C. The second column would be what their strengths are. The third, and as an example, their corporate ties, good grant history, large donor list. So that would be what it's seeing as their strengths. Then it's seeing their weaknesses, and these are just pretend weaknesses: limited presence, few event sponsors, weak social media. And then the strengths for volunteers, a large student base or strong turnout at events. weaknesses, and then it tells us what the weaknesses are. This one has limited training for volunteers, for example. Poor retention is what they're saying. And then finally, how do we outperform them? So then it tells you what you might do to outperform them. For example, focus on long-term engagement or provide better training and recognition. So these are things that, okay, so these are things I can do better. So I'm now going to focus my social media posts, my newsletters on making sure that people know that we do these things already, or we're going to start doing them because I know that's going to outperform my competitors. See how that works? That's pretty cool, right? So here's an example. I'm just using a competitive landscape prompt, create a matrix listing the top five nonprofits in the greater Bancroft area, showing their strengths and weaknesses in sponsorship. And I'm pretending I'm the municipal dog pound and how we can outperform them. So this is what it came back with. It's come back with Home Again Animal Rescue, Heart Highland Animal Relief Team, Municipal Dog Pound. So we're in there. Pet Finder and Home Again listing, Adopt a Pet and Home Again listing. So that tells me each one's strength, each one's weakness. And in this case, it's the volunteer recruitment, and then it gets into sponsorship, things that funding and sponsorship, who they are relying on for funding and sponsorship. So it tells me exactly who they're relying on. So that's interesting. Then it tells me here are strategies, suggestions for the municipal dog pound to stand out. Develop a volunteer program that's telling me dog walkers, social media helpers, event planners. So it tells me what we might consider doing. Some of these won't work for you, others will. And then once you decide one that will work, then I'd ask it for a plan. How do I actually do this? What are the posts? What are the letters? So it will write it for you. So that's really cool. Grant applications, and it tells you exactly which grant applications you might actually go for. In this case, it's saying Ontario Trillium Foundation, PetSmart Charities. So I love that too. So then this is another one that I put in there for you. And I'm only going to run through these because I'm going to be sharing this for you. I'm pretending I'm RCH. I used to work with them up there as far as helping them out with some of their social media training years and years and years and years ago. So I'm just pretending I'm them right now. Identify all the nonprofits in Bancroft, Ontario that compete for some same funding and volunteers as now I put in the link as you could see because I want to make sure they know exactly who I'm talking about, they being AI. So it's going to go back and it's going to look at those two website links I have in here. So that's really cool. And then I also wanted to create a matrix of the top 5 competing nonprofits in Bancroft and surrounding area. So it knows now I'm saying competing to our company and then showing their strengths, weaknesses in sponsorship, volunteers, recruitment, and suggest how we can outperform them. Okay, so this is specifically the thrift shop is what I'm saying. So it comes out with who it thinks are the top. Now, what you find some case, you have to check that it's got something in there who's out of business or that doesn't exist any longer. So you need to let it know this doesn't exist any longer. So I find that way I'm training it, I'm teaching it, so that happens. So in here, I have the links to each of these so that you can see them in detail when you get this PowerPoint. So it tells me who my competitors are. Then it tells me a matrix of what they do, their strengths, their weaknesses, and what we should do to outcompete them. And you can see I've done this on Chat GPT. And then that gives me, I didn't ask it for this, that goes on and gives me 12 fast tactics for the thrift shop in Bancroft to pull ahead. And it gives me 12 fast tactics. Because again, they might not all work, but it's something that's really cool that might help. So the ideas are phenomenal. So I put the same prompt in each of ChatGPT, then I put it in Gemini because I just wanted to show you this is exactly what I do if something is really important. And I think there's one here that wasn't on the other one. And then it tells me what it thinks we can do to outperform them. This one's giving me 12 ideas. Then I went into Copilot with the same example, identify all the nonprofits. You've already seen my prompt. So this is my prompt, right? I put that into where we're typing on my AI that I'm talking about. And then this is the response it gave me. Then it also gives me references. That's something I've always liked about Copilot. It gives me the links of references of where it's gotten its information from. So often, and I should have put this down as part of the 7 things that you need to do when you create a prompt. Number 8 would be ask for where it gets its reference from, because I like to check its references to make sure it's correct and it's not out of date. So then Copilot went into how to outperform. It had 5 ideas, which were fantastic. Then grok, I went into that one and asked the exact same question. So this is what it answered. It came out with this matrix, and then it came out with this details on what we can do to outperform the competitors. So you can see, so powerful. So now I'm not going to get into the same thing with each one, but I will give you the prompts for grant writing or proposal writing. Act as a grant writer for the specific industry. So you want to tell it which one. And then here's an example request. And then so you may want to put in the actual upload as a document or as a PDF, the actual request to the grant, and it'll summarize perhaps the response for you. Summarize my 10-page grant or proposal into a 200 word executive summary. Perhaps you want an executive summary of something you've written. I've also asked ChatGPT, what are the top 5 Ontario grants I should be applying to, and it's come out with all the grants. And then I would ask it, how do I apply to these grants, the ones I'm interested in? So and so I'm not going to go through each of these because I only have a half hour left now. So compose a thank you letter to my donors who contributed. So you're able to ask for thank you letters. This one said a draft of brief email to recruit volunteers for our fall fundraiser. So I would do an email, then I would do social media posts. This one is great as well. I love press releases, and I love asking AI to create the press release. I give it all the information it needs, and I ask it what's it's missing. It'll ask for quotes. It'll ask for the time and the purpose, list of sponsors, donation instructions. Then I'll ask it to create a blog and 3 social media posts and 2 Instagram captions promoting the charity event. In this case, I'm pretending it's our charity gala. So so this is really useful in helping you understand even planning. So you could go a step behind this, before this, and ask for a plan. My annual gala is on such and such a date. Help me put a plan together for my board and for my volunteers and my staff. So that's useful, big time useful, right? So productivity and internal prompts. Summarize this meeting's transcripts into action items. You can have it do that. Rewrite my board meetings minutes in plain English so I can use it in a newsletter. And then I would also add to that how many words I'd like it to be, because it won't know. Unless I put in an example of a past newsletter, then it'll know. So tools for nonprofits as a wrap up at this point, but don't worry, I'm moving on to something even more exciting. So ChatGPT is really important if you're using it standalone, but if you've got Google in your world, then Gemini would be built into Google, and you might want to get more familiar with Gemini. And then Canva AI, of course, I can't see you not using Canva AI to create your marketing material. So Copilot for large organizations, as I said. Now, automation, we're not going to get into it today, but automation, there's a tool called Zapier. If you want to move on automation on your own, that's a popular, safe tool for connecting to your Gmail, or connecting to your Google Docs, or connecting to your Copilot world and asking it to look at your emails and then creating a flow from that. If you go to Zapier, it'll have preset automations already in it that you can say, yeah, this is the automation I need. I do this 20 million times a day. I might be exaggerating on how many times you actually do it, but I do this several times a day. I would love that to be automated. So when you automate, I'm not going to get into the steps of automation here because that in itself, we have a whole lecture on automation in the Trent course that I'm teaching. So that's kind of something that is exciting, and it's getting easier and easier to do. And automation is where you'll hear the term AI agents, and AI agents are doing things for you. That's what it means. So it's not only doing the research that you want it to do, it's not only investigating things like a chat bot can, investigating all these documents that you have and giving out answers. It's also now doing something with that information. It's writing an email, or it's putting it into your calendar. So that's the big difference with automation, and that in AI. So then there's two more tools that I'd like you to be familiar with that I'll be sharing with you today. And that's heygen.com and notebooklm.google. So call to action just for yourself. Like if this is all you want to do and you're not interested in the cloning or the chat bots, creating one of those, or interested in the next piece, which should have been Google notebook.google, notebooklm.google, then there's your call to action is, test one AI prompt weekly. Just test one and then see if what you get out, if there's something you can do with it, because it's just going to spark your imagination with more knowledge. And then start small, perhaps for thank you emails that you needed to write. Put that in there and have it come out with the email that you'd prefer. And then don't forget to tell it, I want you to sound funny, or I want you to sound like this, or here's examples of my past emails or newsletters or posts. Most of you, I think, should be using it for your social media posts, because it comes out with all these great ideas. I'll do a post on such and such, but give me a post that will be more engaging than what I've just written. So I tell it what I want, and then it pumps it up for me. And then practice regularly. You're only going to enjoy this if you practice it. I absolutely love it. One thing I didn't say is I have all of these apps on my phone. ChatGPT is on my phone. The notebook lm.google is on my phone. HeyGen's on my phone. ChatGPT, Gemini, everything, Copilot, they're all on my phone, which makes it much easier if I want to do something from my cell. But they're also all on my desktop. So when I go there, I'm on the same ChatGPT. I'm on the same one. So simple chatbots. They are excellent for onboarding. If you're onboarding volunteers, or if you're onboarding board members, or if you're onboarding staff, or if you're onboarding yourself, if you have all this data that you never really got to and you're thinking, geez, I really needed to know what was in that document. So it's really fabulous for that. It'll read all the documents and it'll summarize. So if you want to create a really simple chat bot, the ChatGPT, of course, has one that you can create that's been there for a while. Let me just show you. So if I go to just ChatGPT, let me just go to ChatGPT in case you haven't seen it before. If I go to ChatGPT and I just go to chatgpt.com, I'm seeing it for the first time. It might make you put in an account. So it needs to know who you are, I think. Anyways, and you can see here, ChatGPT 5 is the default now. And then you can also change, but it's deep thinking. So it takes a little while for it to answer. Or you can say, I want instant responses, or I want it to think even longer. So there's different models there. But this is where you would put the prompts I showed you earlier. So any of the prompts I showed you, you would come in and you would simply put your prompt there. as you put a prompt in there, it remembers what prompt you did. So you want to summarize your prompts. So you want to keep the same thought process together. So if I look over here, I could see nonprofit competition matrix. So I'm seeing the nonprofit competition matrices over here that I've already created for you. So here's the prompt. Identify all nonprofits in Bancroft that compete for the same funding. You can see that's what I showed you earlier. And this is where it came out with my answer. Isn't that fabulous? So it's always there for you unless you delete it. Okay, so it's always there for you. It's got my 12 tasks. And you can see now it has, which I love, all the way through here. It gives me the references of what it's talking about and where it's received that information from. Pretty cool, right? And so then we have here, if I go scrolling further down, it has the matrices. So I can download this table as well if I want to send it to somebody. I can expand the table. That's very powerful. Then it also lets me download it as a spreadsheet. So it's not only giving me these answers, I can actually use them intelligently later, right? So this is a 5-minute live demo script. If I wanted to have a script about this, and this is where this is going to be useful later, I could put this script into my clone and it can read the script on how to create this, whatever I'm talking about here. So this is, oh yeah, I was talking about find me grants on where I can, a short list of grants for my company on my organization on where I might be able to find some dollars. So you can see how intense and how useful this is. So that's what I wanted to share with you there. That's how you actually, just go into and do a new chat, or you can go down here and find all your old chats. Now, what if I wanted to just do a new chat while I'm there? I just click on new chat. So now I'm asking it a new chat. Say this is a private chat. I want to ask, and then I don't want it on the side when I'm finished. And I want it to be deleted. It'll be deleted within 72 hours from its brain. But over here, you would go on to turn on temporary chat. So it won't appear in your history, and it will not be used to update ChatGPT's memory. So it won't know about it the next time you go in. And they may keep a copy of this for 30 days. I heard it was 72 days. So it's in their cloud, which is why I suggest still, even though it's private, do not put private information or financials in this, okay? So now I promised you to share with you how you create custom GPTs. So that's over here. You see the word GPTs? That's over here. There's some other things you can do here helping you code stuff for your website. Sora, which is creating really cool little videos but I'm not going to get into either of those. There's a lot you can do with videos with AI. I just love it, but we won't get there. Then GPTs. So here's GPTs. These are ones that it already has some trending GPTs, and so these are industry or topic specific. But what if you wanted to create your own? You can. So to create your own GPT, all you do is you go over here and you click on create. You can create it in 3 steps. So it's like a really simple chat bot. You can share it with others. You can just keep it here. It can be used for onboarding if you'd like. So create, I clicked on create. You can give it a photo, a short name, a description, instructions, so how people might use it when they come to it. Conversation starters. So if this chat GPT is about what people might experience at your event or what volunteers might experience, you can say, okay, how you register, or what time the event starts at. So they may click on these things. Maybe they're your most frequently asked questions. So that's what you put there. You can have many of them. And then this is where you upload your files. So you're uploading any type of file you want, Word, PowerPoint, audio. So you upload files here. And then you also upload URLs if you want. And you let it know, should it be able to search the web or not. And then you create it. You can preview it, preview it at any time. Let me just show you one that I just created. So here's one I created. I called it Sophie. And so that's what I called it. I put in a picture of an animated picture of me in a VW bus. And then I said, what does it do? I said, helps clients learn more about Sophie, her expertise, and her services. That's pretty cool. And so now if someone clicks on this, it says, what services does Sophie offer? Because I gave it a starting, remember I said, what are some of the starting questions? So it goes in and it's learned all about me. I put in my website, and I think I put in also a bio that was on me, and it's telling people all about me. So that's really cool. So now I can keep this, to myself if I'm just trying to learn about this specific person named Sophie, or I can ask it more questions here. Anyways, but I can make it public too. So I can share it with a link, and see, I can create a link and share that as your new, very simple chat bot. Okay, so it's the simplest chat bot you can put in that you can create. Other chat bots that are more complex allow you to have it on. You can put this on your website as well, but a more complex one will give you stats analysis, where when somebody's on the chat bot, you can see what they're asking and you can actually barge in as a human and answer it. Those cost money. So those are not for free. So that's why I thought I would share this one, which happens to be for free. So I absolutely love this press release helper, market research. So you can do whatever you'd really want to as your topic. And then, as I said, you're getting all this knowledge, and imagination is your is basically uh, it ignites your imagination. So this is creating your simple chat bot on ChatGPT. You go to chatgpt.com, find your GPTs on the side, and then you click on create right up here, launch create. It'll go to create. So you start putting in this information, and then you can configure. That's where you're going to, I think, decide what colors they are. So it matches your brand, of course. You can preview it to test it, and then you're going to launch it. So it's very powerful. I hope you might use it for yourself at least. And this is the example that I just showed you, and you'll be getting a link to that with this PowerPoint. Okay. So here's another one that I talked about that I really love. It's called um, Notebook LM, and it's for your businesses or nonprofits. So it's like a general hub of all your information. You say, well, isn't that what the other one was? Yeah, but what's different is this one creates a mind map, which is just mind blowing. When you're an engineer like I am, I love diagram depictions of what I'm talking about. And I find that easier for people to digest. How are they going to know what to ask in your chat GPT if you have a number of different topics? So those conversations starters might help, but this really helps because it's a mind map of what is in there, of a tree showing, okay, this is the topic, but you can learn about this aspect or that aspect or that aspect. You click on that one, well, it puts another tree out. Well, there's 5 aspects in that. And then if you click on the details, sorry, you'll see a little check mark on there, and that check mark will finally go to the text. Unless there's bullets, it'll list the bullets. So there's also, it will talk to you. A lot of people learn by listening these days. They love podcasts. It's been on for a while. So in that, it can create a podcast of this knowledge base too. And so if you don't limit to what it's going to, how long that podcast is, it'll create a long podcast. Or you can say, create just a 2-minute podcast and focus on these aspects. So yeah, that's really cool. And you can make it interactive. So you can choose to interact with the podcast. So as someone is listening to the podcast, they can stop it and ask a question, and it'll answer. What? Yeah, so it's really cool. And the audio overview is in 50 languages. So it will automatically translate it into all these different languages. So it's and they say it's grade enterprise security. So it's actually secure, meaning that only those that have access or rights to access it can access it. So that I need to look into for free more to understand that. But they say it's more secure than other aspects of AI. So I need to look into that. So upload your source is what you do. So you upload your PDFs, your Google Docs, whatever it is you'd like to upload, or you can even just cut and paste things into it. So, and then you're able to ask it to summarize what you've just uploaded. So if this could be even for your board members, if they're I was part of Community Futures Board, and we were looking at a number of different companies and who we fund every month that we were together. And in that case, we could have uploaded all the funding requests. I don't know. Anyways, I think you want to take a step back and decide what you put into something like this and how you make it useful. I definitely would have put in all of our regulations, all of our policies, so I could have found those right away. That would have been excellent. So I definitely would have put in a board of directors Google LM notebook LM though. I think that would have been huge. So okay, so let me just show you what it looks like. Oh, you could click and make it public, but I would rather, anyways, depends on what's in it. If you're going to click and make it public or just make it so anyone with the link can see it, because I think you still want to keep this, depending on what's in it, probably want to keep it somewhat secure. So let's just see. And it's free, by the way. Did I mention that? So this is how you get to it, notebook.google.com. And this is one that I created already, but I wanted to just show you. So this happens to be one that I created for a conference I was speaking at last week. And so AI prompts for tourism marketing. So I uploaded just 3 PDFs while we were there. And then I asked it just a question, and it just told me what a summary of what it's doing. So I could ask it another question here if I want. I could listen to the audio overview, or I can look at the mind map. So I've already asked it to do that over here. So all that would happen is whatever you click on, the results come over here. Okay. So let me look at the mind map first, because I love mind maps. So here's the mind map. So it's showing me that this is about AI agents and chatbots. That's what I uploaded as far as the information was all the AI agent and chatbot information I had. And so then here's definitions, AI chatbot benefits and features, AI functionality, agent functionality, implementation and creation. This was a hands-on workshop where we actually created these things all together. And then impact on SEO. So I said, oh, what is this one about? So if I click on this, it will now give me more information. Take action, types of agents, agent equivalents to traditional traditional tools. Well, what's that about? So then I click on this. So as you can see, it opens up until it's giving me all the information that I'm interested in. So I find this extremely beneficial. Well, let's look at the key benefits for AI chatbots. And here are the key benefits. Provide 724 support, because these kind of chatbots that we were doing for this group were public chatbots that their clients or those that are traveling to their area will see as a public chatbot on their website. So it's a little bit different, but it still is a chatbot. So that is really cool, right? So you can get that link, upload first all your content, and then test it. Of course, you want to test it before you share it with anybody, and then share it with the appropriate people. Or maybe it's just something you want to use. So that's one of the things. Another thing I want to show you here, and I just want to close this again, is the next thing that I had over here was, if I go back to the studio, so there's 3 panels. What you upload, you can upload more information anytime. The chat itself, so you can ask it questions here, and then it's going to come over here to the studio and put down your answers. So this is where the voice happens. So this is the podcast. So I asked it to, all I did was click on audio overview, and then the podcast came over here. You can't hear it right now, but it will be an exciting rendition of what I already have in here. And this is where it says interactive mode. I can stop at any time, say, wait a second, I didn't understand that. How does someone actually use that? I can create a quiz, a quiz on this topic as well. I can create flashcards. I can create a report. I can create a video overview, generate an explainer video presented by AI. So there's so much you can do with this information, right? So again, this just came out a couple of weeks ago. It's mind blowing. I needed to share it with you. It even has analytics, which I'm not really sure what the depth of analytics. Okay, it tells me how many people have used it. So this is useful if I want to know. As I said, I created this for a session I did last Monday. And if I wanted to know if I'm giving this out to my board members, how many board members are actually seeing it? Or to my volunteers, how many volunteers have actually seen it? Very cool, right? Okay, so I think this is going to be awesome. And again, it's free. Why is it free? I don't know, but I'm so happy it's free for you. That's something I needed to share. So I think, oh yeah, cloning yourself. I've only got 10 minutes. And so you need my clone. Sorry, that was kind of funny. So in 2 minutes, you can clone yourself. This thing called Hey Jen, I like. There's a free version. You only have very few, 3 videos you can create. And I think they needed to be under a certain 30 seconds each. So it could be great for explaining. Or you can have, that's the free version. They're 3 minutes each, 3 minute videos. Oh, they're 3 minutes. That's not bad, right? And then there are the creator package, which allows you to have full access to everything, but 30-minute videos. So that's really cool. And then there's this team one where it's per seat, per team member, full access 30-minute videos. There are other ones too that I think were more expensive for longer videos. So it depends what you're going to do. And I think this one was unlimited short videos. Yes. So unlimited short video form for individual creators. So, and this one is the free one. So they're pretty cool. So what does it do? I'll show you. So the last thing I wanted to show you is it'll create you if you want it to, or you can use, instead of you, if you don't want to clone yourself, you can use humans that it already has, and you can use their voices. You don't have to clone yourself. So, wait. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Sorry about that. Let me go to, it knows who I am over here. Hello, everybody. So I'm just going to go back here. So this is the one okay, so I did this quickly yesterday for you. And I didn't like my lighting. As you can see, my lighting is harsh. I usually have lights that are behind my camera that are more that make me somehow look, a little smoother. So this is my draft. This is the one I created. So here I'm talking, and you can't hear it because I'm speaking to you here, but it talks and it actually. So right now I'm hearing myself in a different voice. So it will take what I'm saying to it, and it will say it in English first. And this isn't me. This is a clone. So it knows my gestures. It knows that I seem to be touching my face all the time, and it I love it. The fact that it'll take and do whatever I'm telling it to, and so it's very simple. So you want to clone yourself. When you're going to do this, you go to avatars, and it'll let you start from a photo. So you can start from a photo, upload a photo of yourself or use one of theirs. Or you can start from a video of you because it gets to see your gestures, and then it will clone your video. So this is pretty exciting. And like I said, this one is free to use now. Does a really good job with the cloning, a really good job with the voice cloning as well as the human cloning. Some people are more comfortable with having your voice cloned, but have it, to someone else, or have it to meaning like one of its clones, because it has all sorts of avatars on here that you can choose, meaning people that aren't you? But they also suggest to have a plain background so that it can, if you can then tell it, put me in a boardroom, put me outside, put me, in front of people that are you can have it put you in different settings. So in my case, I just wanted to do one quickly for you. So I think that's it. Yeah. So cloning yourself, I would do it with app called HeyGen, and these are the pricing for it. And then Zoom wants to no, I don't want to do that right now. Okay, Zoom. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm just going to ignore that. So this is the Trent course, just to wrap up. This Trent course starts October 14th, and I have a discount code for you. If you're interested in the course, you can get 30% off by using capital S O, Sophie, capital SOFIE. That's how you spell my name. And then with 30, and that'll give you the 30% discount that they'll allow for me to extend to everyone here. And so the link to this course will be sent to you as well, but if you go to trentu.ca and you look for artificial intelligence, and you'll find it under the career space in the career space department. So it's tailored to businesses or nonprofits. Once I see exactly who's on the course, I end up tailoring it to you and your company. I ask people what they're interested in, what they think they might want a solution for the end of the 6 weeks. And then that's what we focus on. I will go through the 6 modules that are on the course: marketing, business development, productivity, and ethics, and chatbots. But at the end, your final project that you create is sent to me in any medium you want, and it's just a solution that you can use back at your office right away. So it's a solution that you can use back at work or at your nonprofit right away. And that's what I'm trying to do is when you're finished this course, there's actually something concrete that you can use. So that's what it's all about. Okay, so that is my presentation today. We have 3 minutes left for questions. Oops, let me go back to you. Where are you? There you are. Good. Okay, stop sharing. Okay. Are there any thoughts that you had that you wanted to ask?
I'm thinking of Copilot because we use the Microsoft
Nice.
here in the office, so that might be a more secure place
Mm-hmm.
to test some of this stuff out. Is there is there a safe way to test out the other ones, or just trying to keep the information, I guess, generic that during the testing to see what kind of outcomes you get?
So in Excel, when you go to the top right corner now, so if your financials might be in Excel, AI is built into it. So you can ask AI right in Excel things about your Excel spreadsheet. And in that, it's safe because it's within your Excel spreadsheet. You have saved your financials in that Excel spreadsheet and it's already safe, right?
Right.
So you're not outside of the environment, you're in it. Or if you're using Google Docs or Google Sheets, which is like Excel, and it's already in your Google World, it's in your Google Drive. When you're asking that spreadsheet in Google a question, just like if you're asking Excel a question, it's safe because you're in that environment. The difference is from being in an application to actually just going to a browser and using AI. So when you're going to a browser and using AI like chatgpt.com, or even if you're going to use microsoft.copilot.com, you're in a browser. Now you're asking it to search the web. It won't have access to your Excel spreadsheet. So you'd have to physically put in the numbers that you're talking about. So you don't want to do that. What you want it to ask AI questions that are already built in to a spreadsheet. You're asking the AI that's built into that spreadsheet. It's like when you're telling it to bold something, it's built into the spreadsheet. And now you're asking the AI that's already built into it to analyze that spreadsheet, create a chart that you hadn't even thought of before on the trends, or to create a chart on the gaps, or to create a chart on the strengths. So you're asking it questions that you wouldn't have known before, what the answers were, and then you're getting all these surprises, which is pretty exciting.
Excellent.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it
Thank you for
does.
asking.
Thank you. I will share that Community Futures is offering a grant right now for youth 18 to 39 entrepreneurs that are looking at getting some knowledge on AI or other digital based marketing practices, etc. And they can apply to our office for that. What would happen would they would have a certain allocation of time with Sophie to talk about what their goals are, where they're at, and maybe come up with some marketing strategies, one-on-one basis. So if you know anybody that could make use of that information or may be interested, just have them contact our office.
Look forward to it. I look forward to sharing the success stories from the people we work with. Oh, they want to know who to contact in your office, Sarah
They
was
can
asking.
contact me, Melanie. We're a small operation. I think everybody here knows about it. That's everything for today. We'll call it. We'll wrap up. And thank you, Sophie, for filling our minds once again. And I will send out
Like
that
Sarah.
material to everybody that participated today, as well a little questionnaire as well. So if there's other topics or areas you want to dive a little deeper into or whatever, let us know, and we will see what we can do about having another session set up.